Joining us now from North Carolina is the aforementioned Bernard Goldberg. Even Bill O'Reilly, huh? You had to sneak that even in there.
I should not have said even. What the thing I was trying to get across, and I didn't do it well, was that of the three people, Mike Wallace, Tim Russert, and you were the only one. I think you're the only one who's still alive. I know the other two aren't alive. I think you're alive, right? I mean, you're
Barely.
barely. So I said even, and I shouldn't have said it that way.
Okay.
But if you want to know, go ahead.
I want to know, look, when you and I were coming up in journalism, the art of interviewing was pretty well defined. You ask the toughest questions and you follow up if the person evades, as Barack Obama did. You know, I cited the AP poll. I had that information at my fingertips because I knew he was going to say, no, it wasn't there. You know, I knew it. Any good interviewer has to anticipate what the answer is going to be to the question. That's gone now. And I don't know why. Do you?
It's because of something you said on a show within the last few months, that when people are asked to come on and be interviewed, the person who's doing the asking, the anchor, only wants to talk to people they already agree with. We become so partisan that we don't sit down with people we don't agree with. And when you're sitting down with people you do agree with, you're not going to be tough with them. You're not going to ask.
I don't understand that. I've never in my life did I do an interview, and you can Google a O'Reilly Donald Trump interviews. It's the toughest interviews he's ever gotten. Never in my life did that enter my mind. And I don't know why it's entering the minds of these TV people now. I don't know why.
Because we become partisan, and we only like talking to people, as you said, that we already agree with. Let me tell you the effects of this during a political campaign for the presidency. The column I wrote, by the way, it asked the question, who the heck is Kamala Harris? Which is a question you asked in the lead-in. She's been, after the coronation, when she became the nominee, without winning a single primary vote. It's been almost 2 months now. She hasn't done a single press conference, not one press conference. As bad as that is, what's worse is that there's no outrage from journalists. These are the same journalists, Bill, who document every false move Donald Trump makes. And I know a lot of the people watching us love Donald Trump, and that's fine with me. But when he says something stupid, they report it. When he says something or does something dumb, they report it. If he scratches his rear end on the way to a rally, CNN does an hour-long special in prime time. That same media is not outraged that for almost 2 months,
to be
she
fair,
hasn't done a single news conference.
No, that's true. But to be fair, the New York Times and the Washington Post have both chastised her in an editorial that she should do more. But my focus isn't on the corporate pinheads. All right, we all know that Post and the Times and all three networks are liberal, and they want the Democrat candidate to win. Everybody knows that. But the individuals, like Dana Bash, this was interesting. So Bash is the only interview with Kamala Harris. Asks the questions, but doesn't follow up. All right, that's what the weakness of the interview was. So Harris can say anything she wants, and that'll probably be the case tonight in the debate. And then there's no follow-up, or well, you're dodging the question. Like I always say to my interview subject, when they don't answer directly, hey, you didn't answer the question. You want another shot at it? Or why won't you answer? They don't do that.
Let me give you some behind-the-scenes stuff that you know very well. And you could either say I'm right or I'm wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. When you're sitting next to, right in front of somebody that you're going to interview, you got to be a certain kind of person to say, well, you're full of it, in a nice, polite way, of course. It isn't easy to do that. I used to get geared up. I used to tell myself, they're paying you money to do this. Do it. I mean, I actually pumped myself up before sitting down and doing a tough interview. I did an interview I'm the reporter at HBO's Real Sports who broke the story on concussions in the NFL. The NFL was furious with the interview. The doctor I interviewed lost his job, or let's say he left his job after the interview because I nailed him. He said there was no connection between constant hits to the head and long-term mental problems. It isn't easy sitting face to face with somebody. Tell me if I'm right or wrong about this, and asking tough questions. And only some people, I would say, you for sure, and I hope you would agree that I'm one of them, can do it. But it's not easy, Bill.
Well,
and I don't think Dana Bash. I don't think Dana Bash is one of those people. With all due respect,
obviously, her answer was to the criticism, I can't force anybody to answer a question, which is true. But
that's absolutely true.
You can tell the audience that the person isn't. I have some genetic problem that I actually relished a tough interview. When I walk into the room, I'm like a prize fighter, okay? I see my opponent, and if it's a informational interview, I'm going to get the information that I think has to be delivered to the folks. I like doing that. And when I developed a relationship, a friendship maybe you could say, with Mike Wallace, he was of the same mind. He liked going into the Ayatollah Khomeini and looking him in the eye and saying, it's not me, but everybody else says you're a murdering pig. You know, he liked that. I don't want to embarrass anyone. And I've interviewed 5 presidents, and all of them were asked the toughest questions and the follow. But I like doing it. I guess I'm different.
Let me give you one more example. I sat down with Vladimir Putin's good friend, who was the head of the Olympic Committee at Sochi a few years ago. And I stole, I didn't borrow, I stole what Mike Wallace did with the Ayatollah Khomeini when he said, it's not me, Imam, it's not me. But Anwar Sadat says you're a lunatic. I mean, it was one of the great lines of all time.
Right.
And I said, I stole this from Mike Wallace. Again, I didn't borrow it. I stole it. I should have been arrested on the spot. I said, I forget the guy's name. He was a very nice guy. I said, forgive me. And I touched my chest. I said, this is not me talking, but your friend, Vladimir Putin, the president. He has critics who say he's like a mafia chieftain. Your response? And he got very angry. All of it. He was a very nice guy. He said, I'm not going to answer that under any circumstances. I'm not going to answer that.
But actually, that was a good answer. He was indignant about, being confronted with the truth. But so I don't have any problem with
because he was a nice guy. And
here's what I think it is.
I had to gear up to ask that question.
Right. And where were you during the interview? Because you could be in Siberia right now if you're on Russian.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. And don't think that didn't cross my mind.
I'm going to put forth something now, and you can, you gave me the yes or no. I'll give you the yes or no. But here's what I think it is. Many television news people are not trained the way they should be trained, number one. Many are in it for the money and the glamour, not for journalism. They don't even know. So if you ask them questions about history of journalism, what happened in the past, Edward R. Murrow, how the wars were covered, Vietnam, they don't know anything. They're hired for their looks, their demeanor, their voice, but most of all, corporate media and television hires people who will do as they are told. That is the reason that our journalism on television has fallen apart. Right or wrong?
I think there's a lot of truth to that. And let me name 2 people who wouldn't do what we were told. You and me.
Yeah, true. And we paid a price.
And we both paid a price.
We paid a price for that. But look where we are today.
Exactly.
So we overcame.
I couldn't have said it better. I'm not going to say another word about that. That is exactly right. And I've thought about that more than once.
I would rather have the respect of the people than any paycheck. And I think you feel the same way.
Yeah, and when you run the risk of not having any paycheck and you still do it, that says something about you. I'll
But
give
there's
you the credit.
one
You
more for you, though. If you don't have a paycheck, you can always melt down all those enemies right behind. See the enemies behind Goldberg? You can melt them down because gold is at a record high. So you'll have some residual income coming in.
or
Last
if you
word.
come to my website, that would help a lot.
BernardGoldberg.com. I'm always telling people to go there, and there's nothing in it for me. I mean, a lot of times you and this nut Daly who you got, you're mocking me and telling me I'm crazy. So, which is good. I like that.
And you read my stuff and send me notes saying a good column, and I appreciate that.
No, that's what journalists do. And if you write a bad column, I'm going to send you a note saying bad column.
Fair
All right,
enough.
Bernie Goldberg, everybody, BernardGoldberg.com. Check it out. By now, you have heard me talk about Delta Rescue. They are a fantastic organization that helps rescue animals from the wilderness. You know, I'm a dog lover, so is Leo Grillo, the founder of Delta Rescue. It is his life's mission to provide everlasting care for these once abandoned animals. I myself have donated to Delta Rescue. Do you believe it is part of man's duty to care for dogs and horses, the animals that so much of our history is tied to? If so, please consider making a donation or consult your advisor about leaving a gift in your will or trust. There can be some tax advantages, and it's a great way to help Delta Rescue accomplish their mission. So please visit deltarescue.org to learn more. That's deltarescue.org. Taylor Swift. She endorsed Kamala Harris. And here is the quote. I think she's a steady-handed, gifted leader. I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we are led by calm and not chaos. I was so heartened and impressed by her selection of running mate Tim Walz, who has been standing up for LGBTQ plus rights, IVF, and a woman's right to her own body for decades. Signed, Taylor Swift, a childless cat lady. All right, so the media makes a big deal out of this. Okay, fine. Taylor likes Kamala. Means nothing. Here's something that means something. So there is, according to the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, problems big time with freedom of speech on college campuses. And they list the 10 worst schools that deny students freedom of speech. And here they are, according to this group. Harvard, my alma mater, Columbia, New York University, University of Pennsylvania, Barnard College, Syracuse University. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3 in New York. University of Southern California, wow, USC. University of Texas, Austin. Indiana University, Pomona College, that's in California as well. They are the worst to deny students freedom of expression. Here are the best, according to the survey. And they surveyed 251 universities, about 60,000 undergraduate students were surveyed. We're the best for free speech: University of Virginia, Charlottesville, Michigan Tech, Florida State, Eastern Kentucky, Georgia Tech, Claremont McKenna, that's in California, North Carolina State, Oregon State, University of North Carolina, Charlotte, Mississippi State U. So, it's a shame that students go to a college, pay all that money, and if they say something that's not politically correct, not woke, they get punished. And if they're in a classroom with a radical left professor and they give their opinion, the grade goes down. That's happening. Okay? Be very, very careful about where you send your kids and grandkids. Check it out. Smart Life. Okay, here's an interesting story. So this is from the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA. And this is a very credible publication. They say 1 in 5 people, Americans, when they go to a doctor's office, they dispute the bill, or they get charged so much they can't pay it. 20%. So I had to take my son he had a knee problem. He's a lacrosse player. And we took him to a doctor. And the doctor booted it entirely. The doctor ordered an MRI, didn't even read the MRI. Because you know me, I investigate everything. He didn't even read the MRI. And he had no answer for my son's malady. So I had to take him to another one, and we finally got it under control. This guy sends me an astronomical bill. I call up the office manager, and I say, not going to pay it. And if you send me another bill, I'm going to file a complaint against this doctor at Albany. Okay? A malpractice complaint. Because this is insane, and we can prove it and back it up. So, presto, the bill goes away. So, what this study says is if you get overcharged or the doctor, the physician boots it, call him up. State your case. And I did it calmly. I wasn't yelling, even though I was furious because my kid was suffering. All right? And they say that 62% of people who call and challenge get relief. Either the bill comes down or it disappears. Now, I had to take it a step further by saying, look, this is so bad that if, you know, I'm not going to do it if you're reasonable. But if you're unreasonable, if I see another bill, I'm going right to Albany. And I'll prove it and I'll carry through with it. So no doctor wants that. Now, that is overdoing it unless it's really serious. But what the Smart Life segment is all about is if you think you're getting hosed and treated unfairly, you call. Get names. Get names. Now, I get a lot of that on the concierge band. You know, people, concierge members of BillO'Reilly.com, they write me, and it's all private, and they say, look, I got this doctor did it, and I can usually steer them into attorneys. At some level, you need an attorney. But most of those medical attorneys will work on contingency. They don't charge you up front because if you have the evidence, and you got to have the evidence, okay, then they'll take a piece of whatever settlement you get, all right? You got to get names, you got to document it, which of course I do, all right? But 62% get relief if you do it. Smart Life. Have you ever been buried in debt, piles of overdue bills, threatening phone calls, and it just won't stop? Done with Debt is your way out. They have developed aggressive new strategies to end your debt permanently. Done with Debt tirelessly negotiates with your creditors to lower or even forgive what you owe. And they do it all without bankruptcy or new loans. Done with Debt has unique strategies to get you out of debt faster. But you need to hurry because some debt solutions are time sensitive. Visit donewithdebt.com and talk with one of their debt relief strategists for free. You have nothing to lose except your debt. Go to donewithdebt.com, donewithdebt.com. You've asked and MyPillow listened up. They're bringing you the most requested offer ever. The premium queen size MyPillow. Now only $19.98. It's made with patented adjustable fill to fit your exact individual needs. Regardless of your sleep position, it even helps keep your neck aligned and holds its shape all night long for the best sleep of your life. This sale even includes their 6-piece kitchen and bath towel sets. Just $25 each. Their brand new mattress topper, as low as $69.98. And their famous MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $25 and a lot more. So please go to MyPillow.com or call 800-869-0298. Use promo code BILL to get huge discounts on all MyPillow products, including the premium queen size MyPillow, only $19.98. That's the lowest price ever. Don't delay. Order today. Okay, here's the final thought of the day. I was on Sid and Friends, WABC Radio. That's our flagship, New York City. And of course, it was nice enough to read and talk about confronting the presidents. And I brought up Warren Harding, elected in 1920, because Kamala Harris is campaigning exactly like Warren Harding. Roll it.
Who needs Stormy Daniels when you've got Warren Harding?
Warren Harding's mistress gives birth to his kid, and nobody reports it. And then he's elected, and instead of governing, he plays cards and gets drunk every night.
Love
That's
him.
why I thought you would read it.
Right now, he's my favorite president. He just went ahead of Trump and
Right.
Reagan.
And he's the most corrupt guy in the world.
Love him. Love him. See,
But-
I got to go back and read these guys.
Yeah, Americans elected Harding not knowing anything about him. And he was an absolute disaster. And then at the end, Harding dies before he completes his 4 years, and Coolidge becomes president. But some people think his wife poisoned him in San Francisco.
Look at this. This is
All right?
fantastic.
Yeah,
This is unbelievable. This is
what the book is about.
So the comparison between the campaign of Warren Harding and the campaign of Kamala Harris, you're not going to believe it. Thank you for watching and listening to the No Spin News. See you again on Monday. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.